It's good to see you. Oh my gosh, look at you. OMG, y'all. Hey.
How you doing?
I'm doing great.
What's up, Melissa?
How have you been? We have not seen each other since that Lotto video like several years ago, right?
Yeah, that was a while ago. Yeah.
That was a long while ago. And let me tell you, you left such a positive impression. I mean, you had everybody in there rolling. I'm just like, you need to be a stand-up comedian too. I'm like, what can he not do? Okay, he know how to write music. He know how to make beats. He know how to do production. He does production not just for videos but movie films. He know how to write books. You know, it's just like, okay, you're an adventurous, extreme person. You like to do adventurous things, skydiving and parasailing and all this stuff. What can you not do? That's what I need to know. I think that this would be shorter of you telling me things that you cannot do because you just do a lot.
That I cannot do? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't raise the dead.
When I was just sitting back and I was just watching and how you were directing and how you were making sure angles was right, you making sure the scene is, you know, staging, and it's just like, wow. And I was just, I'm an observer. I'm the type of person, like, yeah, I may conversate, but I more so watch people
Right.
versus listening to them.
No, Melissa Rose is awesome. Like I remember that video. Like, you know, like I like her music and I like what she does a lot. I think she's a talented, beautiful woman, and it's like, you know, I wanted to make sure whatever I was doing for her came out as good as I could possibly give it to her, you know, because she's done multiple videos before I even came into the picture. So I just wanted to make sure I gave her something different that she hasn't already done. She's done tons of work, amazing work. So I wanted to make sure that day when we was filming, it was just something that she hasn't had, you know, she hasn't received yet in her catalog. So I wanted to make sure when we filmed the video, it was different, something fresh, and like she looks at it like, wow, I don't have this, and this guy gave me this. So that was my goal, to make sure she had something special.
Yes, the versatility, and it is. That's so important to be versatile. Now, let me ask you something. How long have you been? Well, I won't say just in the entertainment industry, but when did you start discovering that you actually had a genuine talent? Because, you know, a lot of people think they have the skill and the talent sets and they try it, but they can't execute it.
Right.
You actually execute your gifts and your talents and skill sets very phenomenally. When did you realize that you had that capability and that skill set to be able to do that?
I don't know when I would say I discovered it as like a talent. I started doing hip hop music when I was really young, like 15 years old, and it started shortly after my brother was killed. He was really, it's okay. He was really big into hip hop. He loved like LL Cool J, Big Daddy Kane, Shabba Ranks, like the OGs, you know. And when he passed, this is the crazy part. I hated music. I couldn't, oh my God, I couldn't stand music to save my life. Like, I would be playing video games as a kid, and he'll be playing music in the background. And he would play it so loud that it would vibrate the Nintendo, and it would make it stop. It would make the Nintendo stop. So I genuinely hated music. So after his passing, you know, when somebody passes, you start going through their stuff. And I would listen to his music because I missed him. So I would listen to his music, and I started getting into it, and I started listening, and I started understanding what it was he liked so much. You know what I mean? Like, I was like, oh, this is not just beats and noise. This is like, they're talking about stories. I'm talking about Uncle J, Big Daddy Kane, Rod Bass, Will Smith, like the OGs of it. And I realized these guys are telling stories, and I started getting into it, and I started genuinely liking hip hop music. And I would say when Tupac came around, like the Tupac and the Jay-Z's, who else came around that time frame? Criss Cross, all that. Yeah, all that started coming across. I started liking it. And I would play around and start doing music. And then I started recording music at home and just kind of getting into it. And I wouldn't say I discovered it was a talent yet. As junior high school and high school came around, you start doing rap battles and everything. And I was, you know, when you first doing something, nobody's told you if you're good or bad. So I would just do it. So I would battle people in school, like, I'll battle anybody. Yeah, I'm the best. Da, 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 you know. Through time, I got better. And as I got better and better, people would invite me to studios, and I would go to rap battles and concerts, and it kept on going from there. That I discovered, I would say I discovered it was a talent when I came to Georgia for the first time, actually. 'Cause I'm from New York originally, and I moved to Georgia when I was like 20. And I started doing concerts out here. People invite me to open up. And the first time I ever did a concert out here was when like Jeezy was getting really big, Young Jeezy. And a friend of mine had a connection for me to open up for Young Jeezy. So I opened up for Young Jeezy, and it was crazy because there was so many people, and people genuinely liked what I was doing. That I think that was the point where I realized, like, oh wow, I think I got something here. So from there, it spun into going to different studios, and then photography, and I went to the New York Film Academy, and then from there, it spun into videos and blah 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 blah, and it kept on just kind of growing from there. It's a long story, but I'm trying to cut it as short as I can. But yeah, I would say after that concert, it spun into this world where I was like, wow, I think I can do this. I can go, you know, make money, you know, make this a talent, make money off of this, make this, you know, what it is, bigger than what it is, so to say. So yeah, I would say around that time frame is when I actually discovered I have a hidden talent that I could tap into, and it spun into other ventures. Shout out to Keto Lee and Frankie BX. They tuned in. That's awesome. What you would call it? I wouldn't say I didn't feel like I deserved it. There was times, believe it or not, I felt like I needed more. It's the fact of I never wanted to do what I do to like say, oh, I'm famous, or get rich off of it. Yeah, everybody wants to gain a certain popularity to, you know, and people want to, of course you want to make money off of your craft. My goal was never to reach a certain point in my life where I just feel like I'm high and mighty. My goal was always to reach a point where I could help others, you know,
Gotcha.
Especially this game, like this business from entertainment, whether you in hairstylist or music or directing or whatever it is in entertainment, it's so competitive. And
it is extremely
yeah, you know, and sometimes I feel like it's not even that it's competitive, it's just that everybody feels they can do it. So the fact that you have so many people thinking they can do something and not giving it all their drive and passion, that it makes the media cluttered. So people with talent get lost, and sometimes people, I'm not going to say without talent, but not as talented as this person, get pushed to the front line. And the person with all the talent kind of gets lost in the background because some people don't know what to shuffle through. So there was times where I would get frustrated when I wasn't where I wanted to be. You know, I'd never, even from doing like TV shows, from David Makes Man, like that was like the last big production I did, where I was literally on a set that was produced by Michael B. Jordan and Oprah Winfrey, you know? So to me, it's like I'm sitting there like, wow, like this is like $1 million production. And at that, even with that, I still didn't feel like I was where I needed to be, because my connections and my network still couldn't reach out to help those I wanted. Like I have people that really put a lot of drive and passion into what they do, and I would love to just do something to spark that and make it go out of control. So sometimes I felt like, well, a lot of times I feel like I'm not where I should be, even though I get a lot of leeway. I get a lot of things that get not handed, but I work hard to be where I'm at. So when when things, no, I appreciate that. And it's like when things get put in my path from my agent, which thank you to Laura, a lot of things has happened, but things down to my agent, to whether there's a connection or whether I made the connection myself, you know, sometimes it reaches a point and then I got to venture off into a different connect or whatever I'm doing, because I genuinely feel like I haven't even started. Like, you know, me and my brother was talking the other day, and he asked me, he said, I always wanted to ask you, like, do you feel successful? Do you feel accomplished? Or do you feel like you've gotten at least halfway to where you want to be at? And I honestly answered him no. I was like, I honestly feel like I haven't done anything. I feel like I'm just racing, and sometimes I stop and don't know which direction I'm going. So no, I haven't felt that. I would love to feel that to the point where I feel like I got so much that I don't deserve it. But given my background, I feel I go as hard as I do, and when I don't reach a certain point or don't reach where I feel like I should be, I feel like I let a lot of people down. I feel like I let people in my past down, like down to my, like, you know, it's no secret 'cause I put it out there on social media. Like, my mom died of cancer, my dad was murdered, my brother was murdered. So I start with those pieces and stop and go, if they were here, would I make the impact that I'm hoping I made on them? You know what I mean? And so I stop and go, no, because I'm not even where I would hope myself to be. Not even at the highest peak, but the lowest peak of where I would want to be. And I'm not there yet, even though people tell me all the time, like, oh, you've done this, and you've done this, and you've done this, and you live life different than the average person. And I'm like, yeah, because I live different than this person doesn't mean that I've actually reached the goal I wanted to reach. You know, right. So I guess I'm
quite sure they'll be proud of you, though. You know, I know they're proud of you because, and I didn't mean to interrupt. I'm so sorry, so rude. But you know, the fact that you had the courage to step out to even make the effort, and you know what, it in the entertainment industry, as we know, it can be a long run. Look how I think Taraji did like over 40 different movies and TV shows. She was even on a you know, consistent, very popular TV series sitcom for a long time before, you know, she finally reached her peak. So I think, especially with us, melanin people, we are oftentimes overlooked. Right. We be there, but because we're considered to be too urban, and in a particular skin tone or have a particular nationality, it's like we kind of find ourselves not getting the same equality. Right. Not the same equality. And so that has been a big issue, and that's one of the reasons, as we know, Tyler Perry, I know there's a lot of things that people, you know, don't agree to with what Tyler Perry did, but a lot of things that he did is so that we could have this platform and we can do things without having to rely on those who really didn't want us in the first place. You know, it was just pretty much like to capitalize off of us. Right. That's what it really was. And people be like, oh, but they paid them this much money. They got paid, you know, $10 million off this project. They got paid $20 million. Now, you think about it, if that's how much they paid, imagine how much they received. Oh, yeah, they received like triple that. Right. Yeah. So you know, it's like, yes, $20 million is a lot of money. It's just like with the NBA players, the NFL players, they're looking at all this money that they're getting paid, but they don't realize how much money is coming in. That's nothing. That's just like having $1,000 and only spending 2 cents out of it.
No, yeah, exactly, yeah. It's a different ball game now. I mean, bringing up Tyler Perry. Granted, some people have their opinion on him, but I respect him a lot, especially due to the fact of he took nothing and literally made it into a multi-million, close to, I'm sure, probably billions by now, company. You know, it's like he has a whole entire studio out there, replicas of the White House, for example. And granted, some people might disagree with his methods, but one thing that you can't take away from the guy is the fact that he created all that literally himself from scratch. Like every single footnote, every single step, every single thing, it's him step by step. And there's no way that you can't respect that, whether you like his movies or not. You know, you can't not respect what he's done, especially the amount of jobs he's given minority actors out here in Atlanta or anywhere. He's put so many people on the map. I'm the type of person that I could do, hypothetically, if I made it to the point to be on $1 million production. Once that's done, I'm the type of person to tomorrow jump on something for a few $100s or $1,000 or even free if I genuinely like it. You know, so if I genuinely like something, I'm going to venture into it, whether it's free, whether it's paid, because I joined this kind of business for the passion of the outcome. You know, it's not just about I'm gonna shoot this video or do this movie or do this music and make money and that's gonna be the end of it. I'm gonna turn my back on it. You know, I genuinely went into it because this art is what helped me when I was at my lowest peak. You know, this art is what got me through the gutter. It's what got me through people passing, and it got me through being broke. It got me through when I didn't know what to do and baby mama drama. You know, it got me through every situation of my life. Every time I reached a point where I didn't know what to do. You know, people were there to a certain extent, but I've always been the go-to guy for people. I've always been the person that people seek out for advice or they need help with something or they just want to talk. I've never really been the type to seek out people. So when I reached the point of I need somebody to talk to, so to say, or I don't know what to do, I always went back to creating. So I would create. That's where my ideas come from. Like my ideas come from pain and suffering and happiness and joy. I just take all of that and mesh it into whatever I'm creating, whether it's a movie script or filming a movie, writing music or writing music for somebody else. It's always about just loving what I'm doing. So when I'm currently doing it, for example, I recently, and shout out to John, I see he's on here. I recently was shooting some scenes for Lying in the Sand, a new movie I'm filming now. John, being a good friend of mine, he actually thanked me for something that I found shocking. He tells me, hey man, I wanted to thank you for allowing me to put feedback and give input into the film itself, because sometimes directors and stuff, they have their own point of view that they just want to go about their own way.
Right, that's true.
You know, and I was like, no, you know, I mean, you're part of this project and I want this to come out as good as it can. So at the end of the day, it's not about, I just want my ideas. I want this to come out as good as possible. So if I'm doing something and you see a better opportunity to do something and make it even better, I'm going to listen. And if I think it's a good idea, of course, I'm going to implement it into the film or whatever we're doing. So it's like, I genuinely just like the idea and the process of creating. I like the idea of people coming together, passionate people, because there's people that just want to do this for a check, and there's people, I've met people that want to be part of what I'm doing because they're bored, and I'm like, look man, I ain't got time to entertain you. You know, I'm trying to entertain the world, like, yeah, it's crazy. I've literally had people tell me, hey man, I'm just bored, man, I want to put me in something, and I'm like, but I'm like, what's wrong with you? You know how serious I take this? But that goes to show you how much just because somebody's next to you, how much they probably really don't support what you're doing. That they don't take it as serious as you're trying to put out. And then it's crazy that strangers and people you don't know, like for example, yourself, you know, you reached out to me, you wanted to do the interview and this and that. It's crazy how sometimes strangers you don't know be so passionate about what you're doing, but the person standing right next to you doesn't see it.
Right.
They just take it like I'm just doing this for fun. Like, you know, I do what I do and I got a family and I just disappear for hours of the day just for fun. You know, like I got nothing better to do, you know? So, no, genuinely I just...
You're consistent.
Yeah, I love the process. And one of the reasons I do it, one of the main reasons I do it is the fact of, I think it was, I don't know if it was last year or the year before, I want to say it was the year before, for my sister's wedding, we went to Dominican Republic, and you know, we're out there in the resort, and that's actually where I created We Alive and Living. I'm out there, and it's like, while I was out there, I was talking to different people, you know? And a lot of people, you'd be surprised at how many people just don't live their life. Like how many people they're stuck in this routine. Like, their job is their world. And that's good. Don't get me wrong. Your job pays the bills. I respect that. Okay, I get it. But, like, their job is their world. Their kids is their world. And when I ask them, look, I respect that you love your job, or you like your job, or you need your job. I get that too. Or you love your kids and everything. But what's up with you? Like, what's going on with your life? Like, how do you feel? Like, you know, and even when I was out there in Dominican Republic, you know, I was meeting strangers out there that would tell me, oh, I was planning this trip for like 5 years. And I'm like, you was planning this particular trip for 5 years? You know, and I'm like, wow, like you gotta be kidding me. I'm like, so what did you do? What did you do within them 5 years before this? Oh, just working and saving money, you know? And like, and that's when it hit me like, I think a lot of people have things mixed up. They have it like this, the equilibrium in their life is not correct. Like, you don't, and now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying you have to go take a trip to the Bahamas every day, but even in your own city, there's pockets of things you could do. You know, there's so much life interacting, and surround yourself with the correct people to every day live your life. Even if you're home, like, get a little drink, watch a little TV, and do what you want to do in between time. You know, a lot of people don't do that. I've seen people that they go to work, they come home, they cook for their husband or wife, the kids, and it's time to sleep, and tomorrow do it all over again. You know, and I'm like, yeah, you know, and it's not their fault. It's nobody's fault. It's just you get stuck in this routine. You get trapped, and you don't realize that you're not really, you're alive, but you're not living life. You're just here. You know, so then years will pass by, then you stop and go, man, I didn't do anything. You know, so that's why, that's one of the reasons why on social media I might come off like a daredevil, or I come off like a crazy person, and I'm just like, you know, you know who said it the best? Will Smith said it the best recently in an interview. He said, and I'm sure I'm not quoting him exactly word for word, but he said something along the lines of, there was a point where everything he did, he felt like he needed to do it as Will Smith. Like, you know, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Yeah. The really nice guy, squeaky clean, don't curse too much. Right. You have an image to portray. And I was always afraid of that. I was always afraid that I was going to say the wrong thing, do something wrong, or the media wasn't ready for me to do these kind of things or act this way. And then one day he realized, he was like, you know what? I don't give a shit. Like, I don't care what anybody thinks. Like I'm not the he said to himself, I'm not the Fresh Prince. I'm Will Smith. Right, exactly. You know, Fresh Prince is a character, and I'm Will Smith. So I had to realize to myself, like, if you like what I did here, that's cool. And if you like what I did here, that's cool. And if you don't like what I'm doing as Raxiel himself, then don't tune in. Just watch the movies or hear the music or whatever the case may be. And I reached a point where I genuinely, not that I don't care people's opinion, I don't care what their opinions are of me. You know what I mean? Right. And that's what the movie I'm filming now, Leo, which a lot of people will ask me what it's about, and it's hard to explain. That's kind of what it's about. Lying in the, it was named Leo at one point, but it's called Lying in the Sand. And Lying in the Sand, that's kind of what it's about. It's the fact of, you can have a character that's there for everybody, but then you stop and ask, when was the last time was anybody there for that character? You know, it's like you have the lion on top of the mountain, and you know, he's watching the jungle, and the trees could be burning, and the elephants could be dying, and the food source could be depleting, and everybody's like, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? You know, so they want answers, but nobody ever stops to, on a regular day, to just come by and go, hey man, how you doing? You know what I mean? Like, what's going on with you today? You know, so people are so caught up in their own world, and they're so caught up with what they're doing so much that they forget that the person you're speaking to and the person you're leaning on could be literally dying inside. And sometimes all they need is a, hey man, you okay? Or what's going on in your world? And we don't do that a lot, you know. So I tend to literally pride myself on anybody I meet. I don't care if you're outgoing, if you're shy, if you're very secluded, or if you're out there. I tend to literally dive into who they are. You know what I mean? And see what's going on. What's your definition of fun? Or if you don't have a definition of fun, let me show you mine, and we can have fun together, whatever the case may be. So, I got people in this particular movie that's never acted in their life. And you know, I have people that's acted for a long time. Like a good friend of mine, John Edward, he's a phenomenal actor, and I had him acting next to a person that's never acted, and they were like, they had a giant scene together, like a giant scene, and John was humble enough to understand that this person's never acted, and this person was humble enough to understand that they've never acted and they want to learn from this person. Right. So the scene came out. I haven't edited it yet, but being there live, me recording it, the scene was awesome. And it was the fact of this person has never done it, very shy. But when I approached them with the idea, they loved it. And when they saw how serious me and John was taking it, it intrigued them to be there and around people trying to put something together. And then, you know, when you acting, one privilege about acting, aside from being somebody that you're not, is that you travel places. You know, you end up in places that you never thought you would be sitting at. You know what I mean? You go places that you're like, wow, not in a million years where I thought I would come out here or see this from this point of view. You know, so the person literally loved the idea of what we was doing. Then the magic happened. It started snowing outside, so it made the scene even better. You know, so some of the people that are having this project that's never acted before are seeing things and loving it. And they're understanding why I go so hard at it. It's not only about the outcome. Yeah, I want people to notice it. Yeah, I want somebody to pick this up and make something big out of it. But before we get there, we have to, this is my thing. You have to create the product before somebody likes it. Right? They're not gonna like what's in your head. They wanna see it first. You have to make it and show it to them. So how do you get there? And you want this stranger to be passionate about what you created if you wasn't passionate when you was creating it. It makes no sense. You know, you can't expect them to be like, wow, if you yourself wasn't wowed creating it.